All right, welcome to the Hellion Rocks. We've got an awesome guest today, Dave Rude from the Dave Rude Band and some other little band called Tesla. How you doing, Dave?
Very good, man. Good to be here.
Awesome. You know, I'm really excited. There's a brand new release out from you from the Dave Rude Band called The Key. Why don't you just jump right in and tell us about that CD?
Yeah, man. I'm super excited about it too. You know, it's a full record of just, you know, kind of like hard rock and roll that definitely draws on the past, but, you know, it's got a different sort of twist to it. So it's not really a throwback thing, but at the same time, it's definitely, you know, deeply rooted in classic rock, you know, big riffs and solos and a little bit of aggression on parts, but, you know, ballad stuff too. You know, it's just kind of everything that I like, you know. So there's some sort of softer stuff and just some full-blown rock and things, and, you know, I don't know. It's hard to talk about music, but, you know, it's definitely hard rock the way I like to hear it, and I don't hear a lot of bands doing it these days. You know, there's a lot of good radio rock bands, but it kind of all starts to sound the same after a while, and, you know, I haven't found too many bands that do a mixture where it's kind of old and mixed with new. It's like either like a complete throwback where they just sort of sound like AC/DC, or it's ultra modern and, you know, really super commercial. And I kind of like to find a happy medium between the two worlds.
Brett, you know, I just actually got this CD today and gave it a quick listen to, and the first thing that came to my mind was, this is a good rock and roll CD.
Thanks so much. By the way, I haven't even seen it yet, man. You bastard! You got it before I did. I got to go order one of my pre-order bundle too. Damn.
I consider myself lucky that I got it right. You know, and you know, listening through to it, just like you said, you know, it's got some straight up rock. You know, some a little more harder, a little more blues edge, but it's just a good quality rock and roll CD. That's how I would peg it.
I appreciate it, man. That means a lot. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I hope.
So that's awesome. You know, Mr. Dave Rude, I know you started playing guitar from a very young age. How did you get involved in playing, and what brought music to you? How did you get involved with all that?
You know, I guess it would be, you know, my parents, like, you know, because they were playing music a lot when I was a kid, and my mom took some guitar lessons when I was, you know, like, I think actually before I was born, so there was just sort of a guitar around the house. I mean, neither one of them are like, you know, professional musicians or anything. They're both actually teachers, but music was always playing, and I don't know. I just loved it from before I could talk. You know, I would always sing, and I just loved kind of everything about music. And so, you know, I used to play air guitar when I was like 2, you know, and I got, you know, the Michael Jackson Thriller record when I was 5, and, you know, flipped out on that, and then Purple Rain, and, you know, all the great pop stuff that came out then, and obviously the Beatles and Stones and all that, and then started bugging my mom for guitar lessons, and she finally got me some lessons with her old teacher when I turned 9, and, you know, I kind of never looked back. A couple years after that, I got Appetite for Destruction, and then everything just turned completely towards rock and roll, and changed my whole world, and, you know, definitely never looked back after that.
Nice. So you mentioned you had lessons. How long did you pursue that? And then I've heard that you actually taught for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually still teach guitar. Yeah, when I'm not on tour, I teach lessons out here in Oakland, and actually now I do stuff on Skype, which is totally wild. I mean, it's the modern age. I've got lessons. Like some days I'll have a lesson at my studio in Oakland, and then I come home to get on the computer and teach a lesson to somebody in Canada. You know, it's totally strange, but it's really fun. And it's really cool. It's something I taught for, I don't know, 11 or 12 years before I was touring or before I was in touch or anything. I just like to do it. But yeah, I took lessons from when I turned 9 till I was 17. So, or 9 till almost 18. So 8 or 9 years. I went to several different teachers. I actually hooked up with my last teacher that did a lot of the electric stuff was a guy called Doug Doppler that some guitar aficionado people might know, because he was he was a sort of disciple of Joe Satriani and took over Joe's teaching practice when his career took off. And he's put out some solo stuff on Steve Vai's label as well that Doppler has. And, just really, amazing, shredder stuff. And so I got to learn a lot of that cool sort of Satriani style stuff. But I was coming from a more bluesy, song-based background and kind of mixed it together, but I love all that stuff too.
That's very cool. The reason I said that was I was recently at the NAMM convention, and we went to a press conference on orange amplification. And we talked to the guy that gave it. I wish I could remember his name. And we were talking over, and he goes, "Yeah, Dave Rude was my guitar teacher." Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So I wasn't aware that you were a guitar teacher yourself until I heard that. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Wait, hold on. The guy at Orange said that I was his guitar teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. That's funny because, honestly, the guy that I just mentioned, Doug Doppler, works at Orange now. He's their product demo guy. So, if you go to their YouTube page, he's the guy doing all the videos.
Probably him.
But was that him? Okay,
that's
yeah, he taught
him.
me. Yeah, he taught me. He's the guy that I taught. I took lessons from him like 3 or 4 years.
Okay, well, yeah. So
that is so strange, man. That's wild. He's a great guy.
A small world. Yeah,
totally
that's very cool. So, so you took lessons, you started playing, you got further along, and then I guess you got tapped by Tesla, right? You got tapped by Frank Hannon to play in the Frank Hannon band, correct?
Yeah, man, it was a totally surreal sort of chain of events, for anyone who hasn't heard it yet. It was pretty mind blowing. I'd been in bands, just playing guitar, not singing, for years around the San Francisco Bay Area where I'm from, and the band had been for a long time, and we broke up, and I was kind of over it. I was like, man, screw this, I'm doing a solo project. I'm not even gonna have a band. I'm just gonna hire people and just do whatever I want, and I'll just use my name, right? And so I recorded something with some friends, like 6 months after I decided to do it and decided to even start singing. I was like, screw this, I don't want to look for a singer either. I'm going to do it myself. So put up this little quick, really rough demo on MySpace when MySpace was all the rage. And, goddamn, whatever, a month or two later, Frank Hannon finds our MySpace profile out of the blue. And, really, I had zero connection to the band. I did not know anyone. I didn't know they were looking for a guitar player. And absolutely nothing other than being a big, huge Tesla fan because I grew up loving Tesla. But I had no clue, that there was any sort of hunt going on, right? And so Frank Hannon sent me a MySpace message saying, hey, you want to come out and do this tour? Or, get together and jam, but if it goes all right, would you like to come out and do this tour with my solo band for a couple of weeks? And I said, wow, that'd be cool. I've never been on a real tour before, and I can meet some club owners, and then I'll bring my solo band out there later. And then, the night I met him, he goes, well, yeah, we're going to do this tour, but honestly, I'm just sort of training people. Or I want to train you to be in Tesla if it all works out. And I was like, holy hell. So, it kind of all changed at that moment. But I thought about it, and I was like, I can do both. And it was just the biggest honor. So, I've never looked back again.
That's awesome. And I got to say, that's a band I actually saw since their inception. I saw them on the first tour with Alice Cooper. And, you're a really good fit. And I think that your style of playing and everything fits that band super, super, super well.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Now, being busy with that, and, that takes up obviously a lot of time. How in the world did you fit in time to make this CD the key?
I don't know. Just not spending as much time at home as I probably should have. But when DRB was really super active, we were rehearsing all the time. So whenever I wasn't on the road, I'd come home and be rehearsing 3 or 4 nights a week, and then doing gigs and stuff, and recording sessions and all that. And we actually put out 2 EPs over the last few years before that, and those I think are still available on iTunes. But the discs are actually sold out. And then the key was stuff that we recorded, I don't know, over the course of about a year with our friend, producer Mark Capitan in Fresno, California. He's got this really cool studio. And, he kind of just started out as doing some demos of new songs, but it sounded great. And we're like, man, this is so cool. Why don't we just keep doing it and release it and, keep adding to it so it's a full album? And so that's part of why it took a while, because the last record that we put out was 2009, and then and now, I'm putting out the Key now in 2013, and it was just, going out with Tesla and then coming home and then touring with Tesla and then recording with Tesla, back and forth, and then we would go in, and record for a weekend and do 3 or 4 songs and then come back, and then 2 months later I'd get to go back down and do the guitars. You know what I mean? So it was kind of the, pretty common nowadays, modern hodgepodge way of making an album. So it takes a while, but, it ends up pretty, sounding pretty great.
Yeah, it sounds really clean. A lot, like you said, I know a lot of people do piecemeal, and, they do their part and email it to this person and that. And I think maybe that, sometimes it works out, but a lot of times it loses that organic feel to it.
I totally agree. And actually, I don't want to misconstrue that, because we didn't do like that style, like where it's full blown, never even being in a room together. Like everything we did was live together. It was just that the studio is 3 hours away from here, so it was like I'd have to find time to go down there and record. So like all the basic band tracks, all the instrumentation on the key was all done live in the room, with all 3 of us, staying next to each other. And then I would overdub extra guitars, and then I overdub the vocals. So that's why I still think it still has that sort of real live in the room feel.
It does. I noticed that right off when I threw it on. As I further get into it, I want to discover more of the layering. That I listen for stuff like that, and it's got a real good feel, real good flow to it. It's something that I could hear myself, not just because we're talking, but I could hear myself going back to and listening to again and again, because it is so diverse. And, it's not just, like we discussed earlier, it's not just hard in your face rock and roll. It's got a good flow to it.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Actually, that kind of brings to mind one track on there, is called On My Own Again. And that song definitely stands out a little bit from the pack, because I actually wrote that in Nashville with a songwriter buddy of mine called Doc Holliday, and we wrote that song like to pitch to country artists, and like we recorded it as a demo to try and get like Keith Urban to sing it or something, and then I was like, well, you know what, it kind of works as like a rock ballad as well, because it's sort of a crossover rock country kind of deal. It's not like twang country, it's more like mainstream pop country sort of rock vibe too. And it's like, I really love this song. I think I want to put it on my record and, give it another flavor to it too, so it's even more diverse. And then the other cool thing by way of being in Nashville is that Troy Vacata, the drummer for Tesla, lives out there, and he recorded the drums on that track. So he's actually on that one song, which is pretty cool to have him on that song,
That's really cool. Yeah, I like Troy. When I actually was fortunate, I got to meet you guys several weeks ago, and I've got to say, you guys were all very personable. It was a pleasure to talk to you. It was really a nice evening, cool. And I thank you guys for that.
Oh no, man, it was our pleasure. It was a lot of fun. That was a fun gig. I remember that in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I've seen Tesla shoot. In fact, that's the first time I saw Tesla was in Albuquerque, like I said, with Alice Cooper, and I don't think I've missed them come through since, and it's been several times. We've been talking about your new record. Let's go ahead and listen to a track. Yours to Hold. Want to tell us about that before we get into it?
Yeah, we're going to play Yours to Hold, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this one, man, it's definitely one of the more sort of up-tempo, sort of hard rock and sort of in-your-face kind of aggressive sort of song, almost a little metal, but, like Kill 'Em All-ish metal, so, but still got the GNR sort of bluesy rock feel to it. Definitely has one of my favorite solos on it that I did on the record, and just kind of quirky. I don't know, I like it, but I've always loved the vibe of it. It's just kind of about, the chorus, sell your soul, down that road. Kind of, for me, it's about just kind of dedicating yourself to being in the rock and roll world for your life, and kind of giving it your all and going for it, whether you're in a club or or in an arena. It's the same commitment and dedication that it takes, and just, you know, really ultimate sacrifice kind of vibe. But, you know, really it can be construed for anything, you know, any sort of thing in your life or career that takes a lot of commitment and is just really important to you, and whether good or bad side, you know what I mean, and kind of talks about the good and the bad and just sort of going for it, you know. But I love that song.
Beautiful. This is Yours to Hold. Dave Rude Band. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, good track, straight rock and roll, love it. You've got, like I said, I just got the record. You're out on Rat Pack Records. How'd you get involved with that label?
Oh man, my buddy Mike Stone played guitar in Queensryche for a long time, and he was on like Mind Crime 2, and I think at least another record or two by Queensryche. When I first joined Tesla, we did a bunch of shows with Queensryche, and he was still in the band, and we just hit it off and stayed in touch, and we'd see each other every month or two at whatever random gig we were playing together, and then he ended up leaving Queensryche, and we still stayed in touch. And I happened to actually, totally by chance, run into him at the Hilton Bar at NAMM this year too, and he was telling me about this great label that he's on, and he's obviously a Rat Pack Records artist and has put out a bunch of really cool records on there, like a blues record, solo stuff like Mike Stone Trio. Then you've got a blues group called King's Highway that had this big song that was like the Major League Baseball like commercial, like TV commercial theme song all for the whole year last year. Bunch of cool stuff, and then he just put out a jazz record and all this stuff, and he's like, man, it's really cool because they're generally a rock label, but they let me do all this other weird stuff and great guys. So I think you might be perfect for them. Why don't I put you in touch with them? So he hooked me up with their Joe, and we just hit it off, and it turned out this record was already made, and it's like, well, why don't we give it a real release and put it out there, and then sort of see whatever you do going forward and put it out on Rat Pack. So, I'm looking forward to this release, but I'm also really looking forward to recording some more new stuff, just sort of on my own, more of a true solo project, and doing something else later in the year as well, because it's a great label, and they got all these cool people, George Lynch and John Corabi and Michael Wilton, lots of really great artists. So I'm super excited to be part of it, and honestly, it's the first time I've ever been on a record label other than Tesla's own label. So that's kind of a thrill too.
Right. That's very cool, and I've got to say they're doing their job. They're doing their, what they say they're going to do. I've seen plenty of advertising for the record. Like I said, we set up this interview through them. Jen Kowalski, Media Relations, helped set this out, so they're really doing a good job. They were making sure I had all the proper, press information for the release. They actually, like I said, they sent me a promo copy of the CD so I can do a review on it. And
cool.
Good for you, good on you. That's a good record label to be on. So, you've got let's talk about the Dave Rude band. We know obviously Dave Rude, you're in it, and you said there's a bass player and a drummer. Who you got playing with you?
On the record, bass player is Marco Guzman and drummer is Josh Schmidt, who, that was the band. We're not really doing anything right now. We're not doing any live gigs. So it's, it's more like I had this record done, and I wanted to, put it out because I really loved this record and believed in it. And there's not that many, hard rock records out there that are a little bit different. So, I wanted to release this, but that said, we're not the band isn't really together anymore. But we were for about 5 years, and that was the core band the whole time. And that's that's what I mean. That when I was talking earlier about when I first started it, it was intended to be a solo project, but I hooked up with Marco and Josh, and those guys were so good, and we worked really well together. So it really turned into a band, and we just sort of had my name as the name. So it was kind of different than your usual sort of solo project. It was because it was really more of a band vibe, which I think you can kind of hear on the record that it's definitely cohesive, and sounds like three guys that have been playing together for a long time, because we definitely had that sort of telepathy of musically, which just really helped. We did a lot of sort of improv, a lot of the stuff on there. I mean, there's even stuff that just happened by the studio that we kept. The version we do of Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel, that's different. It was different every single time we played it. So it's all the accents, the bass and drums, and all the guitar leads. It was never the same way twice. So it was kind of fun to keep it with that sort of live, organic feel in the studio. But yeah, those guys are great players, and we're also friends, so it's cool.
I was really surprised to see Sledgehammer on there. I obviously I'd seen the track listing prior to, and I didn't make the connection until, I flipped open the CD booklet and, it says Peter Gabriel. I said, no way. And when it came up, I got to be obvious, no disrespect. I'm a Genesis fan. I love Peter Gabriel. That song, really, really got overplayed when it was out. And, it really became irritating. And your version gave it a fresh new life that, I enjoy hearing it. I was like, right on. This is very, very cool.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad. Yeah, we definitely made it our own. I like it when bands take a well-known cover song and then do it, totally different. I always said that was like, Steve Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble's version of Peter Gabriel. It's more really heavy blues rock, just grooves, like an kind of real live vibe, and that was always a favorite. People loved it live. It's one of those songs that, even hard rock fans who don't own a Peter Gabriel record, when they hear that live after a couple of drinks, everyone knows that song. They're all, it's one of those songs. It's just a favorite. Whether you know it or not, most people love that song, even if they don't know it or not.
That's true. That's true. I found myself, I was picking up lunch when I heard that, when the song track came on, and, I'm there in the back to Sledgehammer, and yeah, order my food.
Right.
So, yeah, get your toes tapping.
Totally. Same way, like at a wedding, every wedding DJ in the country can pop out, pour some sugar on me or Back in Black, and people just flood the dance floor immediately, whether it's, a rock crowd or not.
Yep.
I mean, there's certain songs everyone just loves, even if they forgot about it,
That's a true thing right there. And it's good that, it stays in you and comes out. I think that, with all the problems in the world that we're having these days, everything, economic and political disasters going on, we need good, feel-good rock and roll music or even music in general to help us get away from that for however little time it is. We need that to help us feel, good again. And good on you for giving us good rock and roll.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here doing it. Very lucky.
And I get that from you. It doesn't, I've seen other players and stuff, and it's become tedious to them. They've got to a point in their careers or whatever that they've lost whatever magic it was from them. They're just going through the motions. When I saw you play, I got a chance. This last time I saw you guys play, I actually got to we sprung for the good seats, and we got to get down in the front, and I was able to see the joy coming off you guys. The entire band was still full of joy and still, throwing back to that day when I first saw them. There's still that energy, there's still that joy, and seeing that in you is awesome.
Man, I appreciate it. It's like I said, really a joy to be part of it, and lucky to be making a living playing rock and roll, man. That's for sure.
Cool. So moving forward, what's in the immediate future for Dave Rude and possibly Tesla?
Yeah. Well, our touring season with Tesla really just started up in April, so we're real busy now, and going to be all over the States this summer and into the fall, and then we're going to probably start working on a brand new Tesla record of original material sometime this year, probably in the fall. We've already messed around with some ideas here and there, and definitely that's really cool. So we're definitely all itching to get back into it. And Pete just built a really killer new J Street Studios up in Sacramento, and can't wait to put it through the paces, man. It's going to be fun. So yeah, definitely lots of gigs and a new Tesla record in the future, hopefully within this year. And as far as me, man, I like I said, I've been going out to Nashville, and I write a lot of country songs with writers out there to pitch to artists, and that's something I'm really super focused on. I love to do it, and I write with some pop producers out here in California and pitch those songs as well, and it's just a whole different world, but I just, really enjoy it so much. And, that's where I spend a lot of my time, but I'm also, like I said, excited about the future with Rat Pack Records, and I think, right now I'm really excited about the idea of doing a fucking cool guitar instrumental record, because I feel like that genre has kind of been marginalized in a lot of ways. But, if I don't know, I feel like if you put it right, really catchy melodies and soulful playing and not just a bunch of like, most of the stuff that comes out in that genre is, I think people would dig it. I mean, the big records of all that genre are still big, and people still, God, Joe Satriani, Always With Me, Always With You, that's still on the radio every day in every classic rock station in the country because it's a great song. It's not even really hard to play. It's just a great melody, and that's what I think a lot of instrumental guys lose sight of. So, right now as I stand, that's kind of what I want to do next is put out a guitar instrumental record, but different. Like I said, it'd be cooler than most guitar instrumental records these days. It'd get a little more street cred or something. It'll be a little more rock and roll.
Nice. Well, we've been talking about your new stuff, your new record. Floor's open for you to shout out to anybody you want to. Anything you want to say before we sign off here?
Oh man, I don't know. Thanks to all thanks to Rat Pack Records, Joe, Brian, Jim Kowalski, Gina Peak, everybody, man. It's a pleasure to be involved with such a great label. And thanks to everybody who bought the pre-orders already because it's been doing pretty well too, man. They've got a lot of cool, fan pack offers with all this really weird, cool merch that I've never seen offered before. And you can get a tiny little miniature Les Paul, like the one I play, and a hat, like really cool stuff that's like totally out of the box. And I know a lot of people have been picking those up. So appreciate the support even before the record's out. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Dave, thank you very much. I hope to talk to you again in the future with more stuff coming out. I definitely want to stay in touch. And listeners, I definitely recommend picking up Dave Rude Band. The Key, it will not disappoint. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I look forward to talking again.